Yay Networks.
Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. I'm your host, Sibylla Muti, and I can't wait for you to hear all of the Great Girlfriend magic on today's show. So without further ado, grab something great to drink, grab your pen and your paper, and get ready for this week's episode. Enjoy. Happy Wednesday. I am so super happy to be back in the studio. I took it felt like a break. Was it a break? It was kind of it was a little bit of a vacation. I did some things. I went away, but I also retreated so that I could rest a bit because, of course, back to school is in full motion in my household, and I felt like my schedule was getting attacked. So I'm super happy to be back in the studio with Casey today recording. And I want to talk a bit about this new season that we're in because I'm fully in back to school mode, right? And so when I tell you the checklist is long, the checklist is it's long. We got backpacks, books, schedules. Dylan's going to middle school. Sam's going to high school. Football schedule, football equipment, dance equipment for Dylan. She's learning a new schedule completely. She's taking on volleyball. The morning routine has to change again. The lunch schedule has to change. There's so many changes. There's so many shifts. And again, I felt like my schedule, my life was under attack. So I took a break, and I recommend rest for any and every single one of you who needs it. Because sometimes you'll realize that in anticipation of like a new season, you get anxious. And the indicators that you're anxious are when you can't stop thinking about the thing that you want to stop thinking about while you're in the middle of something else that you should be thinking about. So like me currently being in this recording, but in the back of my mind thinking, oh my goodness, I got to make sure I'm out of here in time for Sam to get to football practice today. Oh my goodness, we have a dinner right after football practice. Oh my goodness, did I pack all the things that need to be in the car between football practice and dinner? Yeah, that kind of thing. So that anxiety, that anxiousness, it's like a heavy feeling, and it can overwhelm you, and it can also create like this mental chaos. And so I want to talk about that today. Before I get into that full conversation about like managing the new season with new habits and all of the things that we need to do as women to equip, I want to mention a few things. I have a guest today. This is my feature fingernail that completely went awry, like in the car ride. I don't know what happened to her. Let me see. And it happens to be my middle finger. No offense to anyone, but literally this fingernail was like, yeah, I'm not doing cute anymore. I'm officially not hanging on. I'm not supporting you. And she went bye-bye in the car. And so every time I look down and look at her, I'm like, shame on you for allowing that to happen. And it's happening on camera. But guess what? That's what life is about, is catching the reel of things. So you're going to get this whole unintentional middle finger nail that's happening here, my feature nail today. And I just wanted to celebrate her and call her out before y'all call her out in the comments, because I don't want to hear about it. So now that we've gotten that out of the way and this finger has been acknowledged, otherwise I'm cute. I just wanted to say that. I also want to shout out the Facebook group, because there have been so many exciting events happening in the Facebook group. I want to shout out every single member of our advisory council, every single member of our community, community ambassadors that have been working to pull together meet and greets, that have been working online to create events. So if you've been to any of our meet and greets in Atlanta, if you've been to meet and greets in Memphis, I want to shout you out and thank you so much for showing up in person for the community, because that's when you really start to connect with great girlfriends. That's when you start to meet people that you've seen online. You're kind of curious, like, is she that cool online? She's cool online. Is she cool in person? Like, does she really roll like that? You get to figure all that stuff out when you go to a meet and greet. And so we're pulling together the meet and greets for a few other cities this fall. And I want to make sure that you're involved. If you're in Shreveport, Shar is putting together a meet and greet for Shreveport. Atlanta's having their second meet and greet coming up very soon. Memphis is having their second meet and greet. LA, we still need to have our meet and greet, which will likely be in September. And let me see, what other city was there? New York, of course. And if you're in any of those cities and you would like to participate as a community ambassador, which means you simply get to help organize and coordinate bringing women together in the name of friendship and connection, with just that whole intention of new women meeting each other, building bridges, and enjoying time together. If you want to be a part of the team, email us at welcome@thegreatgirlfriends.com. Every single city needs some support. And if you are the type of woman who loves to bring women together, who likes to enjoy outings in your city, likes to go out and about and have fun, then this is something that you could do to be a part of our community. And in the month of September, we have a couple of online events taking place. We have a game night that's taking place in September in our Facebook group. And we also have a community lunch and learn around self-care that's being hosted by Community Advisory Council member Basie Dwyer, who's going to be hosting that event. And so those are happening in September inside of our Facebook group. You are invited. Do you have to be a member of our private Facebook group? Absolutely. Why is the group private? To keep the safe space safe. Plain and simple. It's not a group for any and everybody who wants to do any and everything. It's specifically for like-minded women to come together and connect and enjoy company. So I would love to see you at those events, because those are going to be two very powerful events. And I'm excited to be a part of game night. Game nights are so much fun. We had them all the way up until May. We took a summer break so that everyone could enjoy friends and family and be outside and go on the Renaissance tour. Now that the tour is coming to a close, it's time for us to reconvene online, right? And get together for games, for connection, for networking. So there's that. Then I also want to highlight our affirmation cards. Shame on me for not having them in the studio today. But I can tell you firsthand that they are doing such a great work in so many women's lives, because I get the emails and DMs about how women are using the affirmation cards to fuel their everyday life. Literally, what you do is you have 53 cards to choose from in our affirmation cards. They're called Love Thyself affirmation cards. And what you do is you're pulling one and you're just taking 5 minutes to journal about it. You can journal, you can do a vlog, you can do something, an audio message to yourself, but you just want to take that time to give yourself a little loving tenderness, because that kindness, making that investment towards being loving and tender and kind goes a long way. And so they're selling really well, and I'm super excited about it, because I know we're spreading self-love and self-care in a major way. And a lot of people are also gifting the cards to their great girlfriends. So if you know you got a great girlfriend going through something and you want to offer her some tenderness and you want to let her, give her something that allows her to be affectionate towards herself, these cards are a perfect way to do that. So you want to go and order those cards at thegreatgirlfriends.com/shop. Plain and simple. thegreatgirlfriends.com/shop. And I just love the cards. Again, 53 cards, so you won't run out. And they're in a really cool plastic travel case. It's so cute. And the reason that it's plastic is because who wants to waste coffee or water or any other beverage on their affirmation cards and use them after? It's kind of gross, right? So if you have them in a travel case, they will travel safely. They are weatherproof, and they can deal with, all of the mishaps that happen during the day. So do grab those affirmation cards. It's at thegreatgirlfriends.com/shop. And after you use them and you start liking them and you're loving them and you're like, they're part of your routine, tag us in a post on Instagram so we can repost, because it does mean the world to me and the world to our team to know that the products are supporting your self-care journey. There are other products. I love our candles. When I say I love them, I'm not even like biased. I'm a candle junkie, and I love our candles. Okay. Group Text is my favorite one right now. And the sweatshirts, I don't have one on today. Again, just really offbeat today. No cards, no sweatshirt. But I can tell you that the sweatshirt is super warm and amazing and very cute. And I get compliments everywhere I go, and people want to know where to buy it. And I tell them to go to thegreatgirlfriends.com/shop just for you. So great girlfriends, my new year is off to a fast-paced start, much faster than I thought it would be, because I was trying to ease into the year, but in actuality, I feel like I was off to the races. And one of the things that I fell behind on already was planning for food, meal preps. how do I get an entire, week of food or even 2 weeks of food planned and organized for my entire family without worrying about pickiness and, who likes what, who eats what, and even cook time, because cook time is so annoying when you've got all kind of youth sports and homework and activities and travel and things in between. So I've gotten it super simple. And I'm super excited because I get to tell you about my absolute favorite meal prep kit, HelloFresh. HelloFresh does all the work for me. First of all, shout out to HelloFresh for delivering right to my doorstep. Literally, the doorbell rings, I open the door, my box is there. And then when I open the box, each meal is organized by bag, with the meats that are iced below. And I take out all my bags. I get them organized in the kitchen. I pick which day we're going to do each of the recipes because the recipes come on recipe cards, which are absolutely amazing. And just for the record, we probably have close to 50 recipe cards that we have had over the year because we have like a HelloFresh cookbook that we utilize as a result of having HelloFresh come every week. But we put the recipes next to the bag that we're going to utilize for the food. And when you open the bag, it is like a dream come true. Literally, all of the ingredients are pre-measured and they're just ready for you to follow step by step. So even down to prep time and cook time, like no more than 30 minutes on a meal, and you have something that's absolutely fresh, that's delicious, that's easy to cook and prepare. Some of the meals are calorie smart, some are protein smart, but whatever the need is, HelloFresh can accommodate. And so I'm super happy about that because my kids get to help me cook. Hubby can cook. I can cook. No one of us feels pressured to go into the kitchen. We're actually excited because we have HelloFresh meals and the box is packed with farm fresh ingredients. So everything arrives pre-portioned. And that is so exciting because it's less hassle and we don't waste ingredients, right? So here, I know you want to give it a try. And again, this is all about simplifying your life. So if you want to simplify your life and have great food and have more time and have a happy family and honor whatever your diet regimen might be, HelloFresh is for you. I mean, it's definitely for me. And I call it Hello Happy, HelloFresh. So go to HelloFresh.com/girlfriendsfree and use code girlfriendsfree for free breakfast for life. 1 breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/girlfriendsfree with code girlfriendsfree. And don't forget, this is America's #1 meal kit, so you absolutely cannot go wrong. All right. So let's get into this week's episode where we're talking about new seasons and new habits. And before we get into new season, new habits, I want to talk about what a season is. A season is characterized by a particular circumstance or feature, right? So a season is a time of change. And the characterization of a season being a particular circumstance or feature means that you can be in a season of change in one area of your life and another season can be very much consistent, right? So for example, we're dealing with the change of seasons geographically, right? So we've got fall coming. Fall is taking place, but that doesn't mean that the rest of the world is shifting. It's just a season of change in weather. So I want you to understand that you can be in a season of change in one area of your life and another area of your life not be in a season of change. You might be in a season of change in your business where you realize it's time to make new decisions, or maybe you need to incorporate a new team. I'm literally looking for interns and I am hiring. But I'm not in a season of change with content, right? So there's different facets of my business, or there may be a season of change in my household, back to school, but it's not a season of change in my marriage. My marriage is very much consistently rock solid, on fire, and we're in a place of consistency. Or you might realize that you're in a season of change in your relationships with people, but you may not be in a season of change in your finance. So you want to look at the circumstance or feature that might characterize a season. And a season can be indicative of a shift that is requiring you to incorporate new decision-making, new choices, new habits, new patterns to either offset a change or to welcome or receive a change. So when you think about fall, as we start to prepare for fall, and I think about all the prep, it's like a new year for many of us because there's so many thrilling and exciting things happening in our households, in our families, even in our careers. A lot of people will change gears in the fall. A lot of people, switch cities, do lots of different things happen in the fall. When I think about all those things that are changing, I oftentimes think about the fact that we shift out our wardrobe because all the summer cute stuff that we were wearing, all the little, the shorts and the sets and the dresses all have to be stashed away because they don't fit the season of fall. The wardrobe is different in fall, right? Some of the things that we decide to wear, our hair color, most of us will change. If you're a blondie, like I've been blonde for a number of years, I go darker in the fall. My lipsticks change. Like I switch a whole lot of things over for fall to really take in the new season and incorporate it. So I have to make new habits. I have to have new choices and new decisions. But what happens a lot of times when we're in new seasons, we get uncomfortable. We're like, new season, what does this mean for me? We have this fear that a new season means that so many things are going to change that you won't even recognize who you are or what's becoming. Or you have a fear of what's to come. Is it going to be like it was before? Or will you qualify for the new season? And I have news for you. If you try to wear what you wore in spring or summer in the fall, you will be uncomfortable, right? That's in clothing. Likewise, if you take a mindset that was due for 2 seasons prior, it may not adjust, it may not accommodate what you need for the season that you're going into. So it is super important to understand that what is coming your way, the new season that you're walking into, requires new habits and new mindsets and new movements. And in order to incorporate those, we're going to talk about what we have to do that today. But I wanted to get into that because I think as I'm a mom and I'm very guilty of prepping my kids for the new season, but not prepping myself for the new season. I'm very guilty of ensuring they're fully equipped for every shift that happens in their life and then looking up and going, I need a break. What about me? Did I get it done? Oh my gosh, I forgot to do X, Y, and Z, ABC. When was the last time I went to the spa? Or when was the last time I updated? I cleaned I did my spring cleaning for my room. I did, spring clean for their rooms. I got all their old stuff out. I got their stuff prepped. Well, because they're old enough now, will get their stuff prepped for their new school year. Even new seasons and clothing when they're outgrowing things. But what about me? Sometimes it'll take me years. So I'm guilty of putting other people's needs before my own. And if you're guilty of putting other people's needs before your own, then you'll find that oftentimes you're responding to the new season instead of being proactive in how you approach it. So I would rather us, instead of being, reactive in how we approach new seasons, going, okay, let me be proactive in how I approach a new season. Let me really go inside and do the work to figure out what I need to adjust or how I need to accommodate and prepare for the growth that can come my way in this new season. So, like I said, new season, new habits. I want to talk to you about habits and the definitions of habits. Habits are defined as a settled tendency or usual manner of behavior, an acquired mode of behavior that has become nearly or completely involuntary. We don't even know what we're doing in habits. We always talk about what do we say? We say force of habit, right? When something happens and you're on sort of autopilot, you're doing for the doing. And most of the time, in our routines, there's a lot of doing for the doing. And that means we're doing it because it's been done before. It wasn't broken before. So we continue to do it. We're comfortable in our doing. It's very familiar. It feels safe. But in new seasons, there's going to be a sense of unsafety, uncertainty, and discomfort, which means we've got to be willing to be open to the idea that our habits need to evolve. Our habits have to evolve. That is like the habitual conversations. That's the habitual places we go. That's the habitual foods we eat, habitual shows we watch, habitual choices we make in business, habitual relation or romantic habits, whatever they are, habitual parenting habits. We have to be willing to adjust to the idea that those things might need to be disrupted for a new season. And I know when we switch seasons, we never want to leave anything or anyone behind. Most of us want to take everyone with us, everything with us. When I go in my closet to shift seasons, it's almost like a war. Like I'm fighting Sybil versus Sybil. Like, do I need that anymore? Does that still fit? Am I going to wear it next year? I have things in my closet that are like my future, like my goal weight outfits. oh, when I get these pounds down, I'm going to wear that. So I'm saving it for that day, right? By the time I get that weight down, it's likely to be 4 seasons old, and I will be no longer be interested in it. However, in my mind, I go through this war of things that I don't want to leave behind. Or as I'm preparing to make new decisions in business, I want to take everyone along. I want to take every client. I want to take every team member. I want to take every single person that's ever touched the Great Girlfriends. I want to take them forward. But in a new season, I have to be comfortable with the idea that some of those people, places, and things have to be disrupted. And I've got to be willing to make the choices to know sometimes people, places, or things have to be left behind in order for me to move forward, in order for me to embrace the season, in order for me to accept what progression looks like. So sometimes you have to detach yourself from comforts to manage the growth of what's coming your way. And detaching yourself from comforts can be painful. If you've ever seen a toddler detach themselves from the pacifier, oh my gosh. And don't do it in a Target. It's like a complete breakdown on aisle 7. Like if you've ever seen it, or if you've ever seen, because I have my own experience with my 2 children, a period where a child is entering a new season and you got to take that bottle. They're no longer bottles. It's time for sippy cups. It's a war. Never mind potty training. Let's talk about it. So we understand seasons, and we can see and correlate the idea of shifts and change when we look at these toddlers. But how about our own spiritual, mental, emotional, physical maturity? What about our own maturity? What happens when we're acting as toddlers, but it's time to mature and move into adolescence, or time to move into preteen, or time to move in adulthood in an area of our life? Or where we've been stagnant because we have done the thing that we've done for so long, right? And it feels so comfortable, but it's leaving us stuck in a place that feels very uncertain and is creating so much fear and anxiety. So I want to make sure you understand that the new season requires new choices, and that requires acknowledging what does not serve us. I want you to take a look at your life and go, what's not serving me? Literally, what is not serving me? And then just pause and sit with it. Most of the time we want to get a quick answer, but the answer will come to us. What's not serving me? The first thing that I heard in my head was that Chick-fil-A drive-thru run you just did. That does not serve who you are, where you're going, and what you're about in this season. My answer came quick. Yours will too, but you have to sit and ask yourself, what's not serving me? What is not serving me? What habits are a disservice to who I am today and where I'm going? Right? And some things will just start floating through your mind. And as they float through your mind, write them down. And you don't have to broadcast the list. This is just between you and you for now, but you need to acknowledge what is not serving you. Who's no longer serving you? Who's no longer serving you? There are some people that sit very cozy and comfortable in your corner, but they're not serving you, not supporting, not advocating, not allying, not crying with you, not praying with you, not loving you, not talking well, speaking well behind your back, right? Who are the people that are not serving you? It could be a romantic relationship that's just going on and on and on, but it's not serving you. It's not giving you what you need. He's getting what he needs, and you're getting some temporary needs met. But your long term, it's not serving you. It's not serving your new season of desire and expectation, right? So who's not serving you? So you want to ask yourself that. Some things that served us were simply habits that we permitted because we were too afraid to make new choices. So some of the people, places, things that are sitting in our corner are just there because we were too afraid to make new choices to support what we really wanted to see. Some of us have been too afraid to acknowledge publicly that we are in a new season, that things are shifting, that we do want more, right? That we have a higher demand on our emotional needs, or that our expectations are higher. Some of us have been afraid to say that, so we've been accepting of things that have made us complacent. But now, as you are walking into whatever your new season is, and I guarantee you know it, I don't have to say it out loud for you to be clear. Like, I'm walking in a new season in business where I can no longer utilize some of the patterns that I used to get the business to where I got it before. I now have to incorporate new people, new mentors, new advocates, a new board, new team to help drive the growth forward. But I have to acknowledge that what was serving me before has to shift, right? So you've got to be willing to think differently, to make new choices and to experience new things. So here are the 3 questions I want you to ask yourself. And you need to write these down, and you need to put them in a place where you can don't write them down and toss them to the side. Write them down and put them in a place where you can evaluate them from time to time, right next to your affirmation cards. Just want to throw that back in. These are 3 questions you want to ask yourself. Number 1 is, what do you need to shift in your daily routine? What do you need to shift in your daily routine? I want you to think about your daily. Do you have one? Well, let me say this. We all have one. We have daily habits, but a routine is something that's regimented, that's more intentional. And what do you need to shift in your routine? If you're thinking that you need to save more time in the morning, maybe you need to have a shorter self-care routine, or maybe you need to adjust some of the foods that you're prepping in the morning, or maybe you need to pull your clothes the night before. Or if you're in a place where you're realizing that you need to carpool because you don't have the time or energy to drive everywhere all the time, then you want to start thinking about people that you can incorporate into your routine. Or if you realize that you're tired at the end of every night because you've been working so long, so hard, and you feel like you're not getting any support in return, then where do you need to incorporate people to support your routine? Or where do you need to cut some of the time, some of the work time, so that you can have more time for yourself? Because your health is your wealth, and you're no good to anyone else if you're not good to you. So it's super important that you ask yourself, what do you need to shift in your daily routine? Are you taking supplements? Are you taking supplements? Do you have your vitamin list? Are you taking vitamins? If not, do you need more vitamins? Do you find that every day you're foggy, you're tired, and you're leaning on coffee? You're on 3-4 cups a day, maybe 2 cups a day. I don't know. Or you're constantly getting that drop that happens to all of us, but it happens to you real hardcore. Then maybe you need to incorporate some supplements, and you need to evaluate your blood work and find out what supplements will be right for me. But what do you need to shift for this new season, aligning with your new habits? What do you need to shift in your daily routine? That's number 1. Number 2 is, how do you need to show up for yourself in this season? How do you need to show up for yourself in this season? I will tell you, when we moved to Los Angeles to be clear, we left New Jersey in 2020. We moved to Memphis for 9 months to be with my family before my father passed during COVID. And then we moved to LA in 2021. So that's 2 moves within a matter of 9 months. Okay. Imagine how tired. Then we hit the ground in LA. My kids have a new school. We have a new community. We've got a new church. We've got new stuff going on. Everything's new. And we're really trying to get ourselves acclimated into all of the new. And I found myself running, not showing up intentionally for myself until my body was like, yeah, no, you're done. You need to rest. And my body just dropped on me. I started to feel aches in every area of my body. I was going on Google and I was like, well, Dr. Google says I might have this. Dr. Google says I may have that. Dr. Google says I may have this. And sure enough, all I needed to do was be tender and loving and kind to myself and give myself rest. I needed to show up as the most loving, tender, kind version of myself I could be. I didn't need to run myself raggedy to accommodate the acclimation of the season. The kids would acclimate just fine. I needed to give myself love, tenderness, and kindness. And when I started doing that, literally going to sleep was kindness for me. Going to sleep was love for me. Going to sleep was tenderness for me. When I gave myself that, my body was able to rejuvenate. How do you need to show up for yourself in this season? I know that everyone wants everything from you, but how do you need to show up for you? Because there's no one else that's going to fill your cup better than you can. There's no one else that's going to provide for you. There's no one else that's going to love you and adore you the way that you will. Now knowing that, how do you need to show up for yourself in this season? Once you learn, realize, and acknowledge that, then you can start aligning those habits to support how you need to show up for yourself. And you can be accountable to the needs of your body. Because once I was accountable and saying, oh my gosh, all I needed was sleep and rest, I spent a lot of money trying to figure out what was going on. I was at the chiropractor. I was biohacking. I was doing all the things, and the things were working very slowly. But then I started to go to sleep. Free. It was free. Sleep was free. Great girlfriends. It was free. I went to sleep. I'm telling you, I could have saved almost $10,000 just by going to sleep. Just by giving myself the tenderness to say, girl, get some rest. You've gone through a lot. You're tired. Rest. It's okay. It's okay. You're not going to leave anything behind by getting sleep. In fact, you'll be better equipped to show up as Sybil when you rest. So I want to give that to the person who feels like you always got to chase the clock. You need some sleep. Number 3, who do you need in your corner? Who do you need in your corner in this season? Do you need a coach? Do you need a mentor? Do you need a trainer? Do you need great girlfriends? Do you need new great girlfriends? Do you need an intern? Do you need to start dating again? Just getting out there. Now, I know the apps are discouraging. I hear the stories, but just getting out there creates a sense of energy around the thing that you want, romantic energy, just putting it out there. Like, do you need to switch careers? Do you need a different mentor on the job? Do you need a different employee resource group? Who do you need in your corner? Do you need your siblings in your corner? Is it time for you to say to people, I really need you in my corner right now? Do you need a therapist in your corner? Do you need a therapist in your corner? It's okay to recognize that you need people in your corner and then say to them, I really could use you in my corner right now. I know I haven't called on you in this way before, but in this season, I feel like I could use you like by my side. Like, it's okay. And if you realize that you have to outsource some of those things, make the investment in who you need in your corner. Make the investment, because your new season, your growth, your progression is worth the investment. And the worst thing that can happen is that you miss the opportunity to grow, to progress, to evolve, because you were too afraid to make a new choice to support new habits, right? To support new results. So I just want to give you those 3 one more time. What do you need to shift in your daily routine? Number 2, how do you need to show up for yourself in this season? Number 3, who do you need in your corner? I am so grateful and so honored to be in your corner. I really, truly am. I don't take for granted that you listen to this podcast. Now, knowing that you listen to this podcast, I feel accountable to your next level. And I have to let you know that if you are looking to have the growth that you want in your life, you have got to make those choices. And it's not going to be comfortable. Sometimes you're going to have to say to the people you love the most that you love yourself more. Sometimes you're going to have to be willing to release people that have been very close and that have been very useful to you in former seasons, maybe for a season. But the choice is the power. The power is you saying, I get to choose how I show up. I get to choose who I show up with, where I show up, right? I get to represent the best and the highest version of myself in this season, and know that when you do it, God's got your back and you got your back, and everything that you need comes to you. Like the abundance that you're looking for, it flows out of you first, but then it starts to come to you in different forms. Like, I'm literally so glad sitting in LA, sitting in a studio to record the podcast after 2 years of being out of a studio and saying to myself, should I put this podcast on hold? I'm really getting tired of recording here in the house. Like, I'm over it. I'm over it. .com.org .net .biz. But God, right? When I started to write down who I need to be, how I wanted to show up for myself, and the expectations that I had, the opportunities came my way to do things better and differently, and to have a team to support where I'm going. So I'm leaving that with you today as some food for thought. Do share it with your great girlfriends, and let's get into conversation about it. Last but not least, anything you want to talk about on the podcast, we want to know. So do email us at welcome@thegreatgirlfriends.com. Someone's there to take your email, and we cannot wait to hear your success stories in this new season. I can't wait to hear how these new questions help you to frame your day, frame your routine, and frame your accountability corner. And I love you, and have a great week. Peace. All right, great girlfriends, did you enjoy this week's episode of the podcast? If so, would you please give us your amazing review on iTunes? Every single review helps another great girlfriend get plugged into the podcast and the community. Speaking of community, make sure you join our Facebook group at The Great Girlfriends. Follow us on Instagram at The Great Girlfriends and on Twitter at @the_greatGFS. I'm Sybil Amuti, and I'm out. Peace.
Yay Networks.